Hi, Mrs. Bourne's class. I'm Miss Doyle, and I'm visiting your media literacy class today to talk to you about some banned books for a project you're going to be working on. I was in your class the other day, and we talked about what makes a book challenged or banned and what the trends have been in recent years, according to the American Library Association. I have for you for your project a cart full of some options for your banned book project. That's going to require you to read the book and do another project with it. Each of you has a piece of paper that says what the title of each of these books is, gives a short description, and then it also indicates if we have it available. We have all of these available in hard copy, but this also indicates if we have it available as an ebook on one of the Kindles that you can check out from our library, if it's available on Access 360, which is another ebook format that requires you to download some apps on your personal device. If that's something that's interesting to you, let me know. I can talk to you about it a little later. And it also indicates if we have this on audio, because I know some people do a better job of listening to the story as they read along with it themselves. So be making marks on the sheet as I talk about some of the books. I only will be talking about 6, 7, or 8 of them today, but please use this as a guide to help you choose the book. You also should know you're not limited to this list for the project, but this will hopefully give you a good starting point, and I'm happy to help each of you individually. Just let me know if you need help. So the first book I wanted to recommend is called The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. It is a book that I actually just finished rereading for the second time, and I'm going to go ahead and just read the summary on the back. It is a great book. One thing that makes it a little different is that it includes some drawings. The main character in this book, his name is Junior. He is a cartoonist, and here's what the story is about. Junior is a budding cartoonist, which is what I just told you, growing up on the Spokane Indian Reservation. Born with a variety of medical problems, he is picked on by everyone but his best friend. Determined to receive a good education, Junior leaves the res to attend an all-white school in the neighboring farm town where the only other Indian in the school is the school mascot. Despite being condemned as a traitor to his people and enduring great tragedies, Junior attacks life, wit, and humor and discovers a strength inside of himself that he never knew existed. Some things that I enjoy about this book is just Junior as a character. He's very genuine, and his friendships are very genuine, and he overcomes a lot of challenges despite some of his medical problems and his upbringing and his poverty living on the Indian reservation. There are definitely several controversial issues discussed in this. Teenage sex is among them, as well as some Indian stereotypes, but I'll let you go ahead and be the judge as to what else might be controversial and leave you to finding the evidence. So that, again, is The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. The next book I wanted to talk about is Speak by Lori Halls Anderson. I have not read it in a few years, but I remember it is a page turner. And many of you might recognize Lori Halls Anderson by name. She's written some additional titles that you maybe are familiar with, such as Twisted, which is something I know you read your sophomore year. So if you enjoyed that, you might enjoy Speak. And this is about a young girl named Melinda who attends a party over the summer, and a traumatic event happens at the party that prompts her to call the police. When the police arrive, they bust the party because some bad things are going on there. It's a high school party, and because her call to the police led to the police coming, she gets in a lot of trouble by her friends. Nobody wants to be her friend anymore. They don't want to speak to her, so she kind of becomes mum. So that's Speak by Lori Halls Anderson. The next book I wanted to talk to you about, I just read this one. Actually, I listened to this one on audio, and it was very moving. It is called 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher, and he is actually an author who came to visit our school district a couple of years ago to talk about this book. And actually, Antioch High School, our sister high school, performed the play 13 Reasons Why. So this one is very close to our school district, and the reason it's on the challenge list is because it deals with teen suicide. It is about a girl named Hannah who decides to commit suicide, and there are 13 reasons why she decided to do that. One of those reasons is a boy named Clay Jenkins. So, what Hannah does is she leaves behind her story of the 13 reasons why she decided to commit suicide and leaves those cassette tapes to the 13 people who are involved in her story. We follow Clay as he listens to those tapes, and we learn along with Clay at the same time as Clay the reasons why Hannah decided that it was no longer worth living. So, obviously, like I said, teen suicide is one reason that this is controversial, but there might be some additional things that you come upon as well. 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. The next book that's controversial and has been a challenged book according to the American Library Association is called Lush by Natasha Friend. I have never read this book before. It deals more with some family issues, specifically a drunk father and a young girl whose name is Sam. She's only 13. Her efforts to overcome her father's alcoholism while also protecting her younger brother. It's a shorter read, so if you are somebody who's really busy and doesn't have a lot of time to work on this project, this might be something that's interesting to you. And again, that the family issues is what makes it a little bit more controversial, but there might be some other issues as well. One of my favorite books that I've ever read is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. He has written two other books that I have read, and they are page turners. One of them is Thousand Splendid Suns, and the other is And the Mountains Echoed. They're both beautifully written adult books. So if you tend to be a stronger reader and you are interested in issues occurring in the Middle East, this might be for you. This story, I'm going to go ahead and read the description. Okay. The story is about Amir, who is haunted by his betrayal of Hassan, his best friend. And this Hassan is also the son of Amir's father's servant, and it's his childhood friend. And some horrible incident occurs to one of them during their childhood. That is probably one reason why this has been a challenged book, is because of this one incident that happens early on. As Amir and Hassan become adults, their friendship has grown distant and they are not in touch with each other anymore. Amir feels very guilty over what happened to Hassan in their childhood, and so as an adult, he strives to redeem himself by locating Hassan's son and rescuing him from some terrors that he's experiencing in Afghanistan. So again, the setting of this book is the Middle East. It's very interesting if you are up to date with some of the happenings of the Middle East and the Taliban. So I would highly recommend this. It's one of my favorites of all time. The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. And the last one I want to talk about, because it's the only nonfiction one that I'm going to talk about, but there are some other nonfictions on the list, that is Tweak, and it is by Nick Sheff. And this in 2012 was one of the Abe Lincoln nominees, so you know that it must be good. And again, this is a nonfiction. Let me read the summary to you. Nick Sheff was drunk for the first time at age 11. In the years that followed, he would smoke pot regularly, do cocaine and ecstasy, and develop addictions to crystal meth and heroin. Even so, he had always felt like he could quit and put his life together when he needed to. It took a violent relapse one summer to convince him otherwise. So, one of the titles that deals with drugs, we have another one called Crank. That is a fiction book. If you're interested in the drugs as a controversial issue, this might be something that's up your alley. And we have many other titles too, but that is all I have time to talk to you about today. Again, I encourage you to come see me or Mrs. Bourne if you need some additional guidance in selecting a book. And please refer to this, and I'm happy to help you get onto Access 360. Good luck with your project. Thank you.